You see, something's going to happen.
What? What's going to happen?
Something wonderful.
What?
I understand how you feel. You see, it's all very clear to me now.
Welcome to the Occult Rejects. This episode, you got the four of us covering a topic together. I got myself. We got my partner in crime, co-host Lisa with us. And we got my boy Mike. And you already know we got Thrash as well. Tonight we are covering the, this is a long name here, the Mystic Order of Veiled Prophets of the Enchanted Realm. First off, I'll just be completely honest. Just that name caught my attention. And it is an order that still exists now. That's something I guess was one of the reasons why I wanted to cover it, because it is still in existence. But you know, we do have some things to talk about with it. But in all, there really isn't too much about it, and it's been around for a minute. You know, and it still does exist, and you know, it is associated in some ways Masonry, obviously, even though it claims not to be a Masonic order. But you'll see, you know, when we get into it. But yeah, this was a topic that I had wanted to cover for years now. I've talked about it with Thrash. I've talked about it with Lux. I'm pretty sure I might have even talked about it with Lisa, probably JJ. I don't know. I've mentioned it a few times. And Michael had told me that he had worked on a bunch of it already. So I was like, oh, wow. So, you know, he sent me some of the stuff he had. I found some things to add in there. And, you know, again, I thought this was an interesting order that, you know, first off, it's a funny name. It's still in existence. And it's like one of those orders, just like, you know, it kind of reminds me of almost like Lions Club or Rotary, or maybe even like Jesters, to where it's like they exist, but like nobody really knows, like, oh, I've never even heard of them. Or like, oh, I've seen those signs in, you know, in town, but like never put two and two together, you know. And they're also connected to working with the public. So again, I always find those a little interesting as well. You know, they do things supposedly out with the public and try to help people, but I never heard of them until like somebody brought up like the weird name and saying that they were like some secret society. So I don't know. Very interesting. So yeah, we're gonna have Mike. I guess you'll kind of start it off just for like a little bit of an introduction of the order, and we got some slides that I'll pull up too. Oh, Mike just killed himself and knocked himself off the show. Interesting. He did that earlier. I will pull
He
up.
must have went through the eclipse.
Yeah. He fell through the eclipse. So, Mike, yeah, I'll have you started off right here, I guess, with the introduction, a little bit about what they are and their philosophy.
Yeah. This order, the one thing about it is it's kind of like the Masonics redhead's stepchild, to where you have to be a master Mason to get into it. And I'll just read the Mystic Order of Veiled Prophets of the Enchanted Realm, MOVPER, often known as the Grotto, is a Masonic body founded in 1889 by
What was that, Little Roy?
by Hamilton Lodge by Herman Leroy Fairchild and members of the Hamilton Lodge in Hamilton, New York. MOVPER describes itself as a social organization for the Master Mason. Although its members must be Master Masons, MOVPER does not make any claims to be a part of symbolic craft masonry. MOVPER is guided by philosophy that is deeply rooted in the concept of good fellowship, according to the Grotto, represents spirit of wholesome fun. So it's very much like these other inner orders.
Very Jesters and Shriners. Yeah.
Yep. It's very much like the Royal Order of Jesters. It's a social club. You have to be a Master Mason, but it's not technically craft masonry, right?
You know what I find interesting too, in here we're going to show some of this art. I mean, even find their, I guess their logos in their hat. Kind of interesting. Especially this Sinatra hat. I was like, yo, what's up with that? Now, this hat came out, I think, before Frank Sinatra, so
Yeah, and it's very much in the Shriner spirit. It's very much a fez, you know. It's the black to the red fez, you know, and they do have this Arabian Nights Moorish theme to a lot of their imagery too.
All right, so then I'll go and go ahead.
And just real quick with the symbology of it, so the Shriners will often show usually a Egyptian looking head with horns or a crescent pointing down. A lot of the imagery will be a head with a crescent pointing down, and so they have the imagery with the crescent going up or the horns pointing up. So very much similar to Shriner imagery.
Yeah, that's a good point. Yeah, you mentioned that to me earlier. I was like, oh, damn, I didn't even catch that. All right, now I got a little bit of like the history and the founder. The chief moving spirit in the founding of this organization, like he mentioned before, was Leroy Fairchild. In the summer of 1889, a group of Master Masons, members of Hamilton Lodge number 120 at Hamilton, New York, met to organize and hold informal meetings. What this group was seeking was fun and good fellowship. At their meeting on September 10th, 1889, they decided to honor the founder by calling it Fairchild Deviltry Committee. It was decided that this organization be confirmed to Master Masons in good standing. Be confined to only Master Masons in good standing. The idea of the order proved to be attractive, and many distinguished Masons joined. The order could no longer be confined to any one locality, and in response to imperative requests, other groups were formed. On June 13th, 1890, the Fairchild Deviltry Committee duly established and formed the Supreme Council, the mystic order of veiled prophets of the Enchanted Realm. Its purpose mainly was to add in greater measure to the Masonic fraternal spirit the charm of radiant cheerfulness, and to maintain within the fraternity an impetus of royal good fellowship, wherein joyous companionship and helpful sympathy shall mingle graciously and become the distinguishing characteristics of the order. The late Leroy Fairchild, who is revered by all prophets of the mystic order of the veiled prophets of the Enchanted Realm as the founder of the order, was an earnest, devoted Mason and an enthusiastic believer in the helpful influence of mirth. Now that goes back to the Shriners. He loved his brethren with an ardor of true Mason and a man, and always sought to bring joy to their hearts by the cultivation of sunny cheerfulness and indulgence in healthy merriment and joyful laughter. He believed with all his heart that the beneficial influence of Masonry would be far greater if along the inculcation of sublime moral lessons, opportunities were afforded for the cultivation of a greater spirit of cheerfulness and good fellowship among the members than was possible in the Blue Lodge. I'll tell you one thing, a lot of this also sounds like a lot of gibberish. It's like the same like fucking shit saying over and over. A little fill now and then is best tonic, and the man who occasionally unbends is the man who lasts and gets the most out of life. The Enchanted Realm holds an inexhaustible store of the sunshine which warms with the glow of generous sympathy, and it dispels the gloom of fret and worry and gives a brighter outlook and kindlier feeling, while it strengthens the fiber for real serious work, and so brings true blessing and beautifies the fellowship of the prophets. And this is like shit coming from them. The Grotto is the playhouse of the craft, the place where world-worn men can get together, forget their cases, and be, as it were, boys again. For within the portals of the Grotto, the stiffness and formality which keeps men apart melts away, and they come into closer and truer relationship because of the breaking down of these barriers. In this way, the order is doing a noble job and is powerful help in the cause of fraternity, for it supplements the work of the regular Masonic bodies with a spirit of cheer, which lends a charm and grace to the severity of the more serious work. It is a social organization for the Master Mason, and all such are welcome to join our enchanted realm. It encourages renewed interest in the Blue Lodge field, its activities, and attendance. While it is not and makes no claim to be part of a symbolic craft masonry, we bear in mind that our membership is composed entirely of Master Masons. The ritual is original and unique. The spectacular ceremonial requires a cast of 30 or more and offers unlimited opportunities in stage activities and stunt performance. Its proper rendition requires a large stage, elaborate costumes, and stage settings. It is mysterious, startling, and spectacular with the Persian atmosphere. While pervaded with a spirit of wholesome fun, it teaches a serious lesson which lingers with the initiate, instilling in him a spirit of optimism, a kindly feeling for his brother man, an impression of good fellowship, which is something devoutly to be desired. Membership provides the opportunity to meet with your fellow prophets, many of whom are professional, business, and civic leaders, and to make lasting friendships. Being a member entitles you to share in great humanitarian projects like cerebral palsy research and dentistry for the handicapped. Every Master Mason, because he is eligible to become a member of the Grotto, can join in the humanitarian work, which the Grotto is so fervently sponsoring. When you join the Grotto, you immediately become a member of the greatest fraternity that friendship ever built. Among Grotto members are many Grand Masters and past Grand Masters, governors and ex-governors of the various states, numerous other government officials, and civic leaders. 4 past presidents of the United States, including Warren G. Harding, Franklin D. Roosevelt, Harry S. Truman, and Gerald Ford, have been proud members of the Grotto. All right. I know that was a lot out of me.
Dang, I didn't realize that General Ford, all them were members.
That's something interesting.
Wow.
Yeah, again, like I said earlier, in the introduction, there's not a whole lot on about him, but I mean, I think even when you see some of the people that play at the parade, when we get to that, I mean, big people are acknowledging the existence of these people. And you just had those 4 presidents. I mean, you don't hear about it, but maybe they do have some sort of significance in the occult world or the secret society underground. I don't know.
Yeah, it's wild. Yeah, it's hard to crack into these guys. And like you said, they have a veil of secrecy over them.
I don't know if it means anything or not, but I was kind of looked up. To me, like the way they had that Sinatra spelled out, it's kind of how like Hebrew is broken up. I thought like Sin City. And then if you actually look up like Atra in Hebrew is like crown or wreath. So
if you want,
kind of interesting because of the hat anyway.
Oh yeah,
Here,
we're up to the hat.
I have the note on the hat. I
Yeah.
missed the note on the hat. If
Yeah,
you want
go
to go
for
to
it.
the hat. real
Yep.
quick.
Yeah, let's do it. Yeah, that's the next stuff in the notes anyway.
Okay, so the hat. For a few years, the mystic order of veiled prophets of the Enchanted Realm had no official emblem to wear. Word got around that the mystic order of veiled prophets were permitted to wear an emblem that set them apart from the others. And a black fez head covering was selected with a Makana head in the center, giving the name of the Grotto. The minutes of a February 26, 1903 stated meeting of Azim Grotto, Bronx, New York, states, Prophet Charles E. Lansing, past potent monarch, after some preliminary remarks, descriptive theatro presented to those present a drawing in color of a headgear appropriate for the order. The same was received with favor and by motion, regularly made and selected and carried. It was unanimously decided to atop and wear them on serious and other appropriate occasions. In the minutes of October 29th, 1903, it is recorded, The potent monarch reported that the fez worn on our members was at the annual session of the Supreme Council held at Hamilton, New York on October 20th, adopted as the official headgear for all the prophets of the realm. And so that's interesting. They didn't even have a logo before. So it was some time before they even adopted this hat. The emblem features a depiction of a mokana, symbolizing the veil of secrecy, which represents the mysterious nature of the order, reflecting the lessons that members of the Grotto are encouraged to explore. While the emblem and ritual of the Grotto are often believed to be inspired by the Thomas More's poem, Lila Roca, which tells the story of the veiled prophet of Khorasan. The modern ritual of the Grotto organization actually draws inspiration from Masonic traditions and incorporates elements that allude to Moore's themes. Each Grotto branch is hallowed to add its own interpretation of its story.
Then I started looking at that Mokana, and I was like, "This, is there something behind that?" First off, here we're gonna go to. Oh, that's right. Yeah, you also have the daughters of Mokana too.
Yeah,
right? Yeah. Here, let me just cover the Mokana stuff real quick before we get into that. I started looking into that name, and I was like, yeah, it just sounds familiar. And I saw that it does go back to Al Mukana. And that is somebody who supposedly died around 783. And in Arabic, that means the veiled. And he was born Hashim. And he was an 8th century political and military leader who operated in modern Iran. He led an anti-Islamic rebellion against the Abbasid Caliphate and claimed to be a prophet. He was a major figure of the Karim Din, an Iranian religion which drew on Zoroastrian and Islamic influences. And the Karim Din is like, some people do look at him as like founding that around 755. I don't know. He was also born with the name Hashim, like I mentioned before. He was a native of Balkh in modern Afghanistan. And at the time, the city was under the rule of Abbasid Caliphate, whose heads claimed successorship to the Islamic prophet Muhammad and leadership of the Muslim community. Hashim worked in textiles before his political and religious career. His nickname also comes from the veil he wore over his face. Some interesting things, I think, just to mention, in 1787, Napoleon Bonaparte wrote a 2-page short story about him called The Masked Prophet. The first poem in Lala Rook, 1817, by Thomas More, is titled The Veiled Prophet of Khorasan, and the character Mokana is modeled loosely on Al Mukana. In 1877, opera The Veiled Prophet by Charles Villiers Stanford is in turn loosely based on the story of Mukana as given in Lala Rook, like I mentioned before. St. Louis businessmen referenced Moore's poem in 1878 when they created the Veiled Prophet organization and concocted a legend of Mokana as its founder. For many years, the organization put on an annual fair and parade called the Veiled Prophet Fair, which was renamed Fair St. Louis in 1992. The organization also gave a debutante ball each December called the Veiled Prophet Ball. The Mystic Order of the Veiled Prophets of the Enchanted Realm, often known as the Grotto, a social group with membership restricted to Master Masons and its female auxiliary, the Daughters of Mokana, also take their name from Thomas More's poem, allegedly. So you heard me mention the Daughters of Mokana. If Mike, if you want, you can go over to them because I know you found them actually.
Yeah. Okay. So this is similar to other Masonic bodies, like the Shriners have the Daughters of the Nile, right? So this seems very much to be in that same realm where the relatives of them, and it seems to be a very similar fit. So the Daughters of Mokana, The Daughters of Mokama, a women's auxiliary organization, was founded in 1919. The 4 subchapters, Daughters of Mokama, was also opened. To be eligible for membership, candidates must be adult women, relatives of a veiled prophet, and in good standing with their community. The attire, as with MOVPER, different fezzes are worn to signify various ranks within the organization. Now, this is another very interesting name. I mean, these guys are playing around with very magical, very occult names here. So, the Mysterious Order Witches of Salem, MOWOS. So they're straight up saying Witches of Salem in their name. Sometime before 1917, the Mysterious Order Witches of Salem, MOWOS, was founded as another female auxiliary to the Grotto. They named their Chicago chapter the Aryan Cauldron number 1. So that's very interesting too. The Aryan Cauldron number 1, it's quite a name. Like its counterpart, the group stated purpose is fun, fellowship, and charity activities. The MOWOS has rituals only known to members. Membership requirements are identical to Daughters of Mokana. And I want to just real quick to go with that. If they're saying Aryan Cauldron, so this is before the Nazis came out. And this is very much Blavatsky theology at the time, right? The Aryan race. So this is very occult stuff at the time to be throwing that word around. I'm thinking, just saying. So the Veiled Prophet Ball and Parade and Ball. The Veiled Prophet Parade and Ball was a yearly cult ceremony in St. Louis, Missouri. Oh wait, are we ready for the ball yet?
Yeah, go for it.
Okay. So when you look into this group, one of the biggest things that will pop up and one of the biggest controversies and why we know pretty much about it is they had a huge thing that they did in St. Louis. They had a ball and they had a parade. And so they're very visible in that city every year because there was a veiled prophet who was like pretty much the mascot, and he would choose a daughter to be the daughter of beauty, and they would go on a parade. And they got canceled in 2020, you know what I mean, with all the Black Lives Matter stuff, and that's where all the controversy comes in. So they have, the KKK looking hats and stuff. And so I'll just go into the ball real quick. The Veiled Prophet Ball and Parade and Ball was a yearly cult ceremony in St. Louis, Missouri, over which a mythical figure called the Veiled Prophet presided. The first events were in 1878 and were organized and funded by the Veiled Prophet Organization, an all-male secret society founded in 1878 by a highly selected group of city's business and government leaders. In 2021, the parade was replaced in response to criticism about corruption and racism. All right, so in 1995, the name of the Riverfront celebration was changed to the Fairs St. Louis, though the street procession was still called Veiled Prophet Parade. The date was fixed for Independence Day. It continued to be funded by the Veiled Prophet Organization. In 2003, the organization created a community service initiative through which memberships participate in a wide variety of projects around the city of St. Louis. In 2016, they secured a trademark for the name America's Birthday Parade. If you live in St. Louis, these veiled prophets would be on your radar, but you wouldn't know much about him. So it'd be just a pretty weird thing to see this happen every year. Do you have some of the pictures of the?
Yeah, let me get to it.
Yeah, so the artwork on these things is just wild. So
when we get a second, I did some math. I subtracted 2021 from 1878, and it equals 143. And then I did some gematria, and there's some interesting results.
You said you did in the gematria you got weird results?
Yeah, there's some interesting results here. There's like Imam al-Mahdi equals 143, and he's supposed to be like, it says he will emerge in the end time to establish peace and justice to redeem Islam. There's other ones like Cairo equals that, meth, black goo, kaboom, Cairo, hell, I had a dream, Bechtel. There's just some interesting results, I thought.
Here, with this one that we're showing on the screen for the people watching, this is 1885 Veiled Prophet Parade with theme an Arabian Night. The representation of the King of the Jinns with an outstretched arm was the first float. Is bearing the Veiled Prophet and his attendants beneath umbrellas. Second is the Fairy of Poetry and Romance with 2 giraffe representations. And passing in front of the old courthouse in St. Louis is a float with the theme The Modern Storyteller of the Orient. And on the street, torchbearers carrying lanterns. So it's kind of what we're supposed to be seeing here.
yeah, so now this is very, I mean, obviously it's a veiled prophet. He's got a magic wand, right? There's graphics where they point at letters, where they're on dragons and they're pointing to stuff. You see the theme on the hat with a lot of these guys. Even though it's Arabic, they have the helmet with the wings on it a lot of the times. Very much like the Thor comic books, the old Thor comic books. And when you kind of dig into their sites a little bit, they use kind of some trippy Nordic looking graphics too with that guy. So it's very interesting. And then obviously you have the thing that caused the controversy to the left. That's the guy with the pointy hat. Now, I just think it's pretty interesting. He's got smoke coming out of his eye. He's got 2 like targets on him, right on his chest. It's very much a wizard type hat. There's stars on it and triangles.
Yeah.
And then he's got the clown makeup, or like a geisha kind of, or not geisha. What is that? The Chinese face painting with the mouth. I don't know. Or maybe clown, very clownish too.
Yeah, it does kind of like remind me of clownish, or even maybe like a little bit Native American, like stuff that Thresh has shown before in the past. I don't know.
Yeah. And he's holding a pistol, and he's stepping on something too.
Can I interject real quick?
Yes, go for it.
Sorry for my raspy voice. I went ahead and I looked up the because at Thrash's suggestion, how like Sinatra's broken up to look like that Hebrew breaking up type format, and so I looked up Tra, Sinatra, and Tra translate in terms of etymology was across or crossing over or on the other side. Which kind of like what a veil does, right?
Yeah.
You cross between.
Yeah.
And so when you look up sin in terms of the etymology, there is one where it is a modification of shin, like SHIN, shin. Isn't that like tooth? Or
Yeah.
something?
Yeah, that's used in that's used on tarot.
And so you have also kind of an illusion, not alluding to the word seen, S-E-E-N. Like, it is the opposite of veiled, right? You are actually seen, you know, or it is the opposite. The other thing is there's a lot of etymology having to do with Islam, Arabic, old Proto-Arabic. And so I thought that was interesting considering the etymology of sin. But the veil over the helmet is very reminiscent of the women of Afghanistan that would wear the veil over their face. And some of these, I believe, old assassins, I think the assassin family ties, they all wore a veil. And they were Muslims, weren't they? Correct me if I'm wrong.
I think so, yes.
Yeah. Yeah, and they got
Add that
the...
in.
no, you're good, Lisa.
Something I just want to add that you were saying, Lisa. I mean, going back to the females, shin is even a mother letter too in Hebrew, which does mean tooth. So.
Oh.
And then look at what their organization is. The foundation for dental and teeth.
Smile.
Oh shit!
Smile.
What? Yeah.
I was waiting for you. Like, you know.
Yo, I didn't even catch that. Yeah, we're about to go into the teeth soon. Holy crap! Wow.
Just one more thing with this. These guys are covered in jewels, just like King Solomon. He wore jewels for magic, and it's similar. You know what I mean? Like with the royals, with the jewels in the headpiece too. This dude is jeweled up, ready for magic.
And then kind of just like the priest that would go into the holies, he would have like a whole chest plate full of crystals and stuff also. Kind of similar.
Yeah, I do want to mention before we go on, I do want to mention just that I found this interesting. This is the 1982 fair. The official theme of the fair was the heritage of St. Louis. Big name entertainers crowded the stage during the 3-day event, including Chuck Berry, Bob Hope, Dionne Warwick, Roy Clark, the Beach Boys, and Elton John, who was spirited onto the grounds disguised as a St. Louis police officer. The fair was attended by about 3 million people, 3,000,001 counting a baby that was born on the steps of the cathedral, supposedly. So, I mean, I've never really heard of these people before, but they had these names showing up for them. I mean, I know maybe they weren't like the biggest people back in that time still, but like, are you even acknowledging that these people are worth, entertaining for? I don't know. Just found it interesting. Those people were on that.
Well, to me, it kind of reminds me of the Keystone Cops. Because it's like a bunch of comedians you mentioned in a way, like Bob Hope and stuff, and then a Keystone or a Cornerstone or
Keystone. Mason.
Well, and we know about Chuck Berry. He has some very sketchy ties and some very sketchy criminal history. Bringing underage girls across state borders, I think, and then filming people in the bathroom, right?
Yeah, that's people in the bathroom.
You don't want to be connected to Chuck Berry.
Something, when you look up the etymology for sin, it derives in the old Proto-Western Germanic or Proto-Germanic, so which was meant for truth or excuse. And what's interesting is like how you mentioned the Viking. And so when we look at some of the Viking, what came from the Viking is the Germanic tribes that, once they moved down into Europe. And then obviously the Aryan race, you have the veil, whatever.
Yep. Yeah.
I'm just eating the sorry.
No. Well, you even had the Aryan cauldron before, right?
Yeah.
Interesting. All right, so now back to...
Yeah. Is that supposed to be a clown?
right? Maybe, right? It does look kind of
Yeah,
like a
it's
clown, right?
very much with the nose.
Looks like a clown.
Yeah.
Like like pre-jester or something, kind of like a jester.
Well,
And
I
then,
mean, in terms of operation and like when you look at a Masonic family tree, these guys are right next to, these are a branch completely separate called social clubs. And you will see the Shriners and the Jesters are right next there. And then when you dig into them, it's like same stuff. Just weird stuff, weird charity work that seems very odd. And then, yeah, just
yeah, when
sharing symbols.
see, I listened to a couple videos that they had on YouTube, and they kind of started talking about their charities. And to me, it just sounded, to me, what it reminded me of, like growing up a Jehovah's Witness, like some of the like acting videos they produce. I don't know. It just kind of sounded a lot like that. Like it just didn't sound like genuine reaction to something. Like I'm reading off a script, and then it was very like confusing.
Very
The wording
weird.
they would use,
And it doesn't make a whole lot of sense. And they're just asking for amounts of money, and you'll see what they give you. They give you memberships in certain circles. And when you read the names of them and you look at the symbols that they put all over it, it's just like, you tell me what you think. You know what I mean? Like, this is odd. It's very odd.
All right, now to the tooth, shin. Wow. Welcome to the Humanitarian Foundation. The Humanitarian Foundation is the official charity of Grotto's International Humanitarian Foundation, and it's a 501c3 non-for-profit organization that brings special smiles to children with special needs by providing them much-needed dental care. The program helps cover the cost of dental treatment and anesthesia costs, whether done in a hospital setting or dental office. We do not cover the hospital costs. The dental program, eligibility. The dental care for children with special needs program is designed for children under 21 with one or more of the following conditions. I just wanted to include these. Cerebral palsy, muscular dystrophy and related neuromuscular disorders, intellectual disabilities, including Down syndrome for profound to 2 years overall delayed, documentation from the child's school, licensed psychologist or physician may be required, and dental care for organ transplant recipients pre and post. And then how to apply. The dental care for children with special needs program has representatives from local chapters of Grotto's International who are known as of Dr. Smiles. The representative serves as liaisons with the parents and dental offices to see that all the paperwork is provided and properly completed. They also file the child's application with the Humanitarian Foundation office for processing. The Doctor of Smiles maintains contact with the parent and dentist throughout the course of the child's care. The toothbrush program allows Grotto members and their ladies to interact with the public to introduce Grotto's International and their charitable endeavors. Toothbrushes are distributed in a public area where the members have an opportunity to talk and explain what the Grotto is and what they do. Donations are gratefully accepted and placed into a charitable trust and used to help fund the dental care for children with special needs program. A complete manual on organizing a toothbrush day is available through the Humanitarian Foundation office. Toothbrushes are provided to you by the Humanitarian Foundation. All donations received are to be sent to the Humanitarian Foundation office, and the Grotto will be credited for the total of the donation. Posters are available for you to use to promote your event prior to the date. Place them in high traffic areas in your community. Immediately after the event, please file a report with the Foundation office along with a picture or two that can be displayed on the website or possibly in the Grotto magazine. You know, they give you free toothbrushes, posters, and a toothbrush day manual. So, I mean, it even sounds like they try to go out there and, there you go. You even got that right there. You said these people. I've never even heard of
Yeah.
this before.
Here, I got toothbrushes. Give us money. They get to go out there. They get to meet people. I mean, people need toothbrushes, I guess.
I find it interesting that this is something that goes out into the public, and like I've never even noticed them before.
Never heard of it ever. Never seen anybody handing out toothbrushes anywhere. Nothing.
If anybody's seen it, please comment. If you're watching it, if you're listening, go to YouTube and comment. I've seen these people handing out toothbrushes. I don't know.
When I was listening to one of their videos, they specifically said that a lot of the donations go to needing special doctors and stuff that that have, I guess, specific training on handling these kids with special needs and stuff. And to me, I kind of thought like, hey, let's just get our own doctor in there and then we can get our own money back kind of thing. But I don't know. Just
well, I mean, they provide anesthesia, but they do not provide the doctor, right? It was weird when you were looking at what the services that you can actually get. It was a weird stipulation. Like we offer the dental treatment and the anesthesia, not the doctor.
I wonder if they pay. I wonder if they have their own anesthesiologist that they can actually like book for it and bring in and pay themselves.
Yes, they specialize in the anesthesia, which for special needs kids, I guess you would need to put them out, right? Because I never got put under for dental care. Like, yeah.
I will say that it's odd that you have your own anesthesiologist in a group of clowns when anesthesia is known as laughing gas.
Laughing gas, yeah.
Yeah.
I will say this, in the rave scene, those canisters get out of those. They don't all stay in dentist office, I can tell you that. They end up in house parties and all behind stage and all kinds of stuff. People fill up balloons all night, and it is pretty wild. And yeah, we call it the laughing gas.
Isn't the anesthesiologist like one of the highest paid in the doctors in the hospital?
Yes.
Yeah.
They pay a very premium as well on insurance. They say that's why they get paid so much. I think one of, like, if you wanted to be a PA, a physician's assistant, and you went into like anesthesiology, that's probably one of the highest paid PAs.
Yeah. It's just, if you were to ever check the bill for what the anesthesiologist does, you'd be like, oh, wow. And it's like, well, I guess kind of since they're like putting you in limbo and like, you're half dead and you're half not. It's like, I guess maybe they should get paid money. I don't know. It's kind of weird when you start thinking about what anesthesia might do. That's my opinion. But, yeah. Let me see what else I got here. Yeah, I thought that was weird just about that. Then we have other stuff that, here's the dental program again. Pretty much the same stuff that I mentioned before. Stuff that I was reading over. And we have the Men of Grace. It's, Mike, you want me to read that?
Yeah, you can go for it.
All right. The Men of Grace, the Doctor of Smiles Grotto volunteers are key to the operation of the dental program. They are the Grotto representatives in the community who work with families, dentists, and the Humanitarian Foundation to ensure that special kids get special smiles. And then this was something now, Mike. I mean, this is all new. So just go ahead, I guess, at some point. I mean, I guess when I was even looking into this for the little bit that I did look into, I eventually came across these anyway. I think just looking at images, but, this is all you. So go ahead.
Yeah, so it's hard to find what these guys do, right? What their lodge life is like. So anything you can get in to dig into. So I found a log of their magazines, and they are bizarre. They are some weird ass things. And so if you were a Grotto member, you could have gotten this magazine. And so I just threw them in there just so we have something to try to get a grasp of what these guys are all about. And the imagery is just so bizarre. It's So the first one, you have Santa Claus here. He's wearing the black fez.
I like how he's got a lamp.
Yeah, he's got the red lantern. Now the red lantern, De Grotto says that it is their old. It's a symbol they use because they would put it in the windows when they would have a meeting. It would be like a secret thing, right? They would put the red light in the window, and they knew there was a meeting there. Funny, it's a red light. Just gonna put that out there. It's a red light. That's a symbol for other things too.
Yeah, like the red light district or something.
Yeah.
Yeah. Oh yeah.
So you got the Christmas one, okay? Day and time. 5 senses: see, smell, taste, touch. So a lot of this stuff is similar to the shrine. The shrine is you've done your Masonic work. You've done the serious stuff. You're a master Mason. Now you can play. You can.
Very Shriner and Jester-esque.
Yeah, you're dancing through life with Grotto, right? And so this is the Grand Monarch. That's what they call the main. That's their leader, is the Grand Monarch, and that's his wife. So they'll often show who they are of the year. You can see he's got a yellow monoka, signifying his rank, right? So it's very Masonic. You can't say it's not. I mean, these guys are all master Masons. So this one, they went to Orlando, Florida. You can see that they went to Cape Canaveral. Now, there's a lot of military ties with these guys. You will see that in these as well. So they're going to Disney World. They're going to medieval times, right? And they're using Disney's symbols. I mean, Disney's not tripping on that. I mean, maybe they would if they knew, right? But they're using it on their magazine. Okay, so here's one, and it is very much talking about their connections in the military. In that one, if you can go on these websites, you can download the archives and look through them, and it's just like a bunch of junk, but it is telling you about their operations and their connections and their meetings with the military and all that stuff. And so, is that the Obama logo in the back of that?
So exactly what I thought.
So it's showing you like other secret societies that they're using their influence to get votes. They've chosen. We know, if you really want to know who's going to win the election, all you have to do is go to Fraternal Order of Police or Grotto and look whoever they're backing. And I bet you it's been spot on, because they know they don't invest in people that don't win. Like the Masons always end up backing, Obama, Trump. It's like they weren't Trump last election, but they were this one. So if you want to bet on the election, just look who these groups backed.
That's interesting.
Here's another weird one, just so you can see. They're meeting at Big Boy's restaurant. Grand Monarch, beefing it up with Big Boy, caught beefing it up with Big Boy. It's showtime. So just very odd magazines. Okay, and they're getting weirder. Okay, we have just an odd drawing. You have the Fleur de Lure clearly shown, another symbol for the monarchs of France. And then here's you just tell me what that is. They have, I know they're helping kids, right, with smiles, but like, you can't have better pictures on there. Like, how odd is that quilted grid? You have a little naked baby in one of them, and you have the Grand Monarch.
It's a cartoon.
Yeah, you have they're wearing clown noses too, or Christmas, I guess, Rudolph noses. And you have the red lantern, which is a symbol, and it's involved in their charity. So they're getting weirder. Okay, so this one is just a dancing through life with Grotto. Okay, they have a Mardi Gras mask. That's kind of interesting. I don't know. They're not in Mardi Gras, but they're showing a beach, show a boat in the corner, which is a battleship. So maybe for the Navy. And then we have the one on the right with Rosie. Okay, now these are starting to get really weird. Like this one doesn't seem that bad, but when you see the next one, this is.
I just want to point out real quick the Mobile, Alabama. It's like a major naval base right there, and there's like a tunnel where you drive under the ocean and stuff right there.
For real?
Yeah.
Oh, shit. Okay, now this one is, I mean, just look at it. Now, I'm not going to say every time there's a courthouse with an old spire with spirals on it that means anything, but where a symbol with spirals on it that you might want to be concerned with is on a piece of candy on a secret society's weird-ass magazine with a child in the center saying, "Move up for Rosie." I mean, it's just odder than hell. I mean, just take that for whatever you want. So I went into the archive and had to look up to see more, like, what the hell is going on here? Am I just tripping? But it just gets even weirder because it shows here that move up for Rosie, move up to your next level of support to not only provide dental work for a special needs child, but to also help their family for a better holiday. Okay, so you could move up for Rosie. You could help their family out now to have a better holiday. So if you look into the initial payments that you can make, eventually you move up to different circles is what they're labeling on here. So you move up to the Monarch circle after a certain dollar amount. And then it goes into the silver circle and then finally the golden circle for a certain amount of money. And there's a red lantern. There's a red light on that same graphic that we have here. There's the special smiles for special kids, right? That logo on there. You know, all these Mason cucks out there, your whole organization is attached to the whole organization. I mean, they can tell you what they want, but how come every time I dig into one of your off orders, I find this? Because this is not the only time that I have found shit like this. You can find it pretty easily if you dig in enough. So
to me, that system kind of reminds me of like the spheres on the tree and stuff.
It's just all
I
around.
I don't know if it matches the colors or anything, but that's kind of odd. And then also, if you look back on that magazine, it says that on the very bottom, on the second, it says Gahanna, Ohio, and I instantly think of Gehenna, which is like Hebrew. It's kind of like hell, kind of. It's more complicated than that, but
it's just all around hard to explain. I mean, I'd like to see somebody try.
That was weird.
Now here is just an example of showing you a Masonic tree map, okay? Now, you could be a Master Mason your whole life. You will never touch one of these orders unless you're in the right rank or this is higher society type orders. The Royal Order of Jesters and these social clubs. You have to be a Master Mason. Okay, if you're a Mason, you probably don't even know anything about these groups as much as we don't know. But they're connected to your tree, and it's all right there, right next to the Shriners, Royal Order Jesters. You also have the Sojourn Club right below them. Now, they're very big in the Philippines, okay? And they're just like these other ones. They're probably the sketchiest of all three if you look them up. So what are these other orders doing? It seems like, you know, it's behind closed doors. It's a secret society. You have the Tall Cedars of Lebanon, which is another one similar setup. And then also the Royal Order of Moose is similar. I mean, it's
a lot of them are social clubs.
Yeah.
I wonder if
they
like
have
going out
nothing to do with craft masonry. It's a boys club. and very odd.
Yeah, that's weird stuff. But yeah, I like again. They've been around for a while and they're active, and some people, I guess, have performed for them and have touched their names to them. So I did find that kind of interesting in itself. There isn't a whole lot, really, more.
And they had a president, right? General Ford.
Yeah, a few
That's
of them.
a high-ranking member. So, like, and Eisenhower, right? Did you say Eisenhower?
I think so, yes.
Oh, shit. Yeah, from Abilene, Kansas. Right? Same place Obama grew up with his grandma that nobody knows about. See, that's something in Kansas. Everyone's like, Obama grew up here with his grandma, and nobody knows or cares. And it's like, that's weird.
We got Harding, Roosevelt, Truman, and Ford.
Dang. Damn, that's actually really surprising.
Yeah, never heard.
I did not know
these
that.
people. But yeah, did Mike or Thresh? Did you have anything that you wanted to add?
Just that there's a lot more that I had looked into originally. When this hit my radar was kind of like when they're being canceled in 2001 and 2, and I was hearing about the parade and stuff. And so I had originally thought the KKK connection was solid from reading those articles, and now when I'm going back, you can't find a solid connection. So I just want to say that because I have said that in previous episodes, because I had thought it was for sure. I mean, they very well may be. I mean, that outfit is pretty hard to deny, but
yeah. Oh, thank you for adding that in. Yes. All right. I mean, I think that was actually, it's right around an hour. It's kind of what I expected. That's awesome. Yeah, again, it wasn't anything too deep. It was just like, these people are still in existence, and I've never heard of them before. So I kind of just wanted to do something that was like, putting the spotlight on their that they're around. If anybody knows anything else about them, please reach out, mention stuff in the comments. Could be interesting. And it's another order that is supposedly reaching out to the public. So, never seen them. If anybody has seen them again, please handing out toothbrushes or whatever, or giving people anesthesia, please hit us up. Let us know. Love to hear from you. So yeah, everybody's links that was on the show tonight is in the bottom. I appreciate you all coming on. That's what's up. That was a nice, interesting, short one. It was to the point. And yeah, that's the end of another Occult Rejects. And until the next one, everybody be well. Later.